I never thought I'd hold a loaded shotgun to my own father's temple. His eyes wide with the kind of terror that comes from realizing the monster you raised is now the one pulling the trigger. But there I was, in the dead of night on our crumbling Iowa porch. The cornfields whispering secrets in the wind, whispering that blood doesn't just run thicker than water, it drowns you in it. You taught me everything I know about betrayal. Dad, I hissed, my finger itching on the trigger. Now watch how the student becomes the executioner. That moment wasn't the beginning, though it felt like the goddamn apocalypse.
No.
It started 3 years earlier, in the sweltering summer of 2022, when the humidity clung to your skin like a guilty conscience, and our family farm, once the pride of Black Hawk County, began its slow bleed to death. Grandpa Harlan, with his calloused hands and stories of the Dust Bowl that could make a grown man weep, had built this place from nothing after the war. He fought in Korea, came home with shrapnel in his thigh and a Purple Heart he never polished, and turned 40 acres of mud into a soybean empire that fed half the county. Dad, Jack Donovan, the golden boy who skipped college to learn the ropes, was supposed to carry the torch. Instead, he lit the match. I was 25 then, fresh out of community college with a half-baked degree in agribusiness and dreams of turning the farm green with solar panels and organic co-ops. Bella Donovan, the good daughter, the fixer, the one who believed in second chances like they were gospel. We lived in that big white Victorian on the edge of town, the one with the wraparound porch where Grandpa rocked in his creaky chair every evening, nursing a Budweiser and staring at the horizon like it owed him answers. Mom had died when I was 10, cancer. Quick and cruel, so it was just us three, Grandpa's quiet wisdom, Dad's booming ambition, and me, the glue holding the cracks together. The betrayal hit like a combine harvester through a corn maze. It was late July, the kind of heat that makes tempers fray like old baling twine. I'd been crunching numbers in the office, a converted tack room out back, when I found it, discrepancies in the ledgers. Missing payments from the co-op, inflated invoices for seed that never arrived, and a slush fund siphoned off to some offshore account in the Caymans. Dad's account. He'd been cooking the books for years, bleeding the farm dry to fund his side hustle, a string of payday loan shops in Des Moines that preyed on folks like us, the ones already one bad harvest from the poorhouse. Panic clawed at my throat. We were mortgaged to the hilt, the bank breathing down our necks after 2 wet seasons drowned the crops. If this got out, we'd lose everything, Grandpa's legacy, my future, the only home I'd ever known. I confronted Dad that night in the kitchen, the fluorescent light buzzing like a swarm of lies. What the hell is this?
Jack.
I slammed the printouts on the table, my voice cracking like thunder. He didn't even flinch. Just sipped his scotch, ice clinking like handcuffs. It's business.
Bella.
Survival. Harlan stuck in the past, talking windmills and hippie farms while the world's eating us alive. I did what I had to. Survival? You're stealing from your own father. His eyes hardened, that chameleon glint he got when cornered. And what happens when the feds come knocking? We all go down. Unless. He leaned in, voice dropping to that oily whisper he used to close deals. Unless someone takes the fall. Someone young, with no priors. A plea deal. Community service. Harlan's too old. It'd kill him. I should have seen it then, the hook sinking deep. But I loved him. God help me. I did.
No.
We'll fix it together. Come clean. He laughed, a bitter bark that echoed off the yellowed wallpaper. Come clean? To what? A family of suckers? Look,
Kiddo.
I taught you better than that. Protect your own. And then, like flipping a switch, his face softened, the concerned dad mask sliding into place. Please.
Bella.
For Harlan. For us. I took the fall. Signed the confession. Pled guilty to wire fraud. 6 months in county lockup. Probation for 5 years. And a felony record that slammed every door in my face. The farm teetered but didn't fall. Dad stepped up, as he put it, renegotiating loans with that silver tongue of his. Grandpa never knew the truth. I told him it was a paperwork error, that I'd borrowed from the petty cash to help a friend. He bought it, squeezed my hand with those liver-spotted fingers and said, "Proud of you,
Girl.
family sticks." Out on parole in spring 2023. The world looked different, sharper edges, shadows longer. Cedar Falls felt smaller. The locals whispering, that Donovan girl behind cupped hands at the Hy-Vee. I moved back to the farm. Took odd jobs, waitressing at the diner, tutoring farm kids in math, but the rage simmered. A low boil under my skin. Dad acted like nothing happened. Barbecues on Sundays. Tickets to the Iowa State Fair. Even floated the idea of me joining the business once my record cleared. Flipping sides like a politician. 1 minute the villain, the next the savior. But I watched. Learned. Grandpa's stories weren't just nostalgia, they were blueprints. He'd talk about the war. Not the glory, but the betrayals, the buddy who sold out his squad for a promotion, the officer who buried evidence to climb ranks. Men like that. Bella, he'd say, whittling a stick on the porch. They eat their own to feel full. But karma's a patient bitch. I started digging. Late nights in the office. Cross-referencing old files with public records. That's when the secret unraveled. It wasn't just the farm Dad had gutted. Back in '98, when I was a toddler, Grandpa had covered for him once before.
Dad.
Fresh out of high school and wild with moonshine and bad ideas, had torched a rival's barn during a land dispute, arson. Straight up. To scare off a developer sniffing around our acres. No deaths. Thank Christ. But the insurance payout? Grandpa claimed it as an accident. Took the hit on our policy. Paid out of pocket to rebuild. Buried the evidence in a lockbox under the floorboards, along with Dad's juvenile record expunged by a crooked judge buddy. Dad knew. And he used it. That slush fund? It wasn't just greed, it was leverage. He'd been blackmailing Grandpa subtly, threatening to air the family laundry if Harlan pushed back on his schemes. Teach him a lesson, Dad muttered once, drunk on the porch after I'd gotten out. Old man's clinging to ghosts. Time he learned the world's not black and white. The tension built like a twister on the horizon. Fall harvest came. Soybeans golden under bruised skies. And Dad announced his masterstroke, selling off 20 acres to a corporate AG giant out of Chicago. Modernize or die, he preached at the kitchen table. Maps unrolled like surrender flags. Grandpa's face went ashen. Those acres were the heart of the farm. The soil he'd bled into. Over my dead body, he growled, voice like gravel. Dad's mask cracked then. Your dead body? You're half in the grave already. Harlan. Bella sees it, don't you? Girl? Progress. I nodded, playing along. But inside, the boil hit flashpoint. That night, as thunder rolled in from Nebraska, I found the lockbox. Dust-covered, rusted latch. Inside, singed photos of the burned barn. Dad's juvenile mugshot. A notarized confession Grandpa had written but never filed. For the day you need it. Bella. He'd known. All along. The decision was controversial. Even in my own head. Walk away? Let the farm go? Start over in some city with my stain of a record? Or burn it all down? Take Dad's empire of lies and shove it down his throat? I chose the latter. Revenge isn't clean. It's a dirty Midwest brawl in the mud, where winners limp and losers bleed regrets. But I'd make sure the lesson stuck. First move, the seed. I planted doubts, subtle as thistle. At the next family dinner, ham and beans, Mom's recipe, I accidentally left the old ledgers out, dog-eared to the discrepancies. Dad spotted them, face tightening like a noose. What's this? Bella? Stirring ghosts. Just organizing.
Dad.
For the sale. I smiled. Sweet as pie. Grandpa caught on quick, his eyes sharpening over his bifocals. Later, in the barn, he cornered me amid the hay bales and rusted tools. You know, don't you? I nodded, throat tight. All of it. The fire. The books. You protected him.
He sighed,
Sinking onto a milking stool, the weight of decades sloughing off. Jack was always the storm.
Bella.
Thought I could weather it. But he's twisted now, eats everything he touches. We hatched the plan there, in the scent of earth and regret. No guns.
Not yet.
Legal traps.
First.
I lawyered up on the sly, a public defender from Waterloo who'd owed Grandpa a favor since '05, when Harlan bailed him out of a DUI. We filed anonymous tips to the IRS, breadcrumbs leading to Dad's Cayman accounts. Then, the flip, Dad, sensing the wind shift, came to me one rainy afternoon in the office. Bells, he said, all earnest now, hands clasped like prayer. I know you're hurting. The record. The time away, my fault. Let me make it right. He slid a check across the desk. $50,000. Enough for a fresh start. And the sale? We'll hold off. For Harlan. Tears pricked my eyes. Damn him. He knew how to play. Why now? Because family's all we got.
Lie.
Smooth as butter. But I took the check. Hugged him. Let him think he'd bought peace. The trap snapped a week later. The IRS raided at dawn. Agents swarming the house like locusts, hauling files and laptops.
Dad.
In his bathrobe, blustering about mistakes and witch hunts. Grandpa and I watched from the porch, coffee steaming in our mugs. Lesson time, I murmured. But Dad flipped again, faster than a weather vane in a gale. By noon, he was lawyered up to some hotshot from Des Moines and spinning tales. It was all Grandpa's doing. The old man's senile. Forging signatures. Dementia, he told the feds. Voice cracking for the cameras the local news rolled out. My father's not right in the head. Bella knows. She covered for him before. The betrayal cut deeper than barbed wire. Grandpa, hauled in for questioning, came home that night, his shell shaking, muttering about my own boy. I drove to the county line, tires screaming on wet asphalt, and punched the dash till my knuckles bled. Controversial? Hell yes. Part of me wondered if Dad was right. Grandpa had buried sins too. Was I avenging a saint or just trading one devil for another? The climax brewed through winter, snow blanketing the fields like a shroud. Dad's scheme escalated. He petitioned for guardianship over Grandpa, citing cognitive decline with planted medical notes from a bought doc. The hearing was set for Valentine's Day. Ironic as a knife in the gut. Our town, Waterloo, with its paper mills and Friday night lights, buzzed with gossip. Donovans always were trash, they'd say at the VFW. Girls just like her pa. I couldn't let it stand. The revenge peaked in layers, each one designed to strip Dad bare without a drop of blood. First, the public unmasking. I leaked the lockbox docs to the Cedar Falls Times. Anonymous drop. But the byline read like scripture. Front page. Arson cover-up haunts local farm dynasty. Dad's mugshot from '98 splashed across. Juvenile or not. The town split, half calling him a monster, half muttering about kids' mistakes and Harlan's soft heart. He came at me then, storming the farmhouse in a blizzard, face purple under the porch light. "You bitch. You think this ends it?" He grabbed my arm, bruises blooming like ink under skin. Grandpa stepped in, shotgun from the hall rack cocked but unloaded, just the sound, echoing like judgment. "Get out, Jack," Grandpa rasped. "Or God help me, I finish what I started." Dad laughed, wild-eyed. "Finish? You couldn't then. Won't now." Bella's the weak link, always has been. That's when I pulled the real trigger. Not lead, but truth. I'd wired the house months back, tiny cams from Amazon, feeding to a cloud server. Every flip, every whisper, recorded. I hit send during the confrontation, footage straight to the DA, the paper, even Dad's own lawyer. Him admitting the blackmail, the framing, the arson push. For the family, he'd said on tape, over and over, like a mantra from hell. The shock hit him mid-rant. His phone buzzed, text from his attorney. "You're done." Sirens wailed distant.
Closing in.
Dad staggered back, face draining to chalk.
Bella.
"Kiddo, we can fix."
No.
I leveled the shotgun, still unloaded, but he didn't know. "You taught Grandpa a lesson once. Buried his trust like that barn. Now learn yours. Some fires don't go out." He crumpled, not in tears, but rage, a howl that split the night. Cops took him easy. The evidence was ironclad. Arson charges reopened. Fraud piled on. Blackmail as the cherry. The farm?
Saved.
Barely. Co-op bought the disputed acres at fair price. Grandpa's solar dream funded by restitution. But the twist? It came in the quiet aftermath. Spring thaw melting the lies.
Dad.
Awaiting trial in Polk County Jail. Sent a letter. Not apology, confession. "You think you won."
Bella?
Harlan started the fire. "Not me."
Push me to it.
Said it'd teach the developer a lesson. I pulled a match, but he lit the fuse. Check the lockbox again. Bottom envelope.
I did.
Trembling hands unearthed it. Grandpa's handwriting. Dated '98. "Jack's my blood. If it comes to it, say I did it. Protect the boy." He'd planned the arson. Coached Dad through it, a lesson in toughness for his soft-hearted son. The secret Grandpa buried wasn't just Dad's crime, it was his own manipulation. Forging a monster in his image to toughen him for the farm's wars. Was Grandpa the villain? The victim?
Or me?
The fool who avenged a ghost? Dad rots in a cell. 5 to 10. Flipping pleas like cards. Grandpa passed last fall. Heart attack. Peaceful in his chair, whispering. Did right by the family. Didn't I? The farm thrives. Green panels gleaming. But I walk the field alone. Shotgun retired to dust. Readers, you tell me, who learned the real lesson? In America, where ambition chews up kin like chaff. Maybe we're all just teaching each other to burn. The letter from Dad sat on the kitchen table for weeks. A yellowed specter mocking me with its creases. I'd read it 100 times, each pass carving deeper into the rot of our legacy. Grandpa's note in the lockbox wasn't just a shield, it was a blueprint for the sins we'd all inherit. Protect the boy. As if arson was a rite of passage, a father's twisted love letter to a future felon. I burned it in the wood stove one crisp October morning, watching the flames lick the edges like they had that barn 25 years ago. But fire doesn't erase, it brands. Life on the farm shifted after the raid. A fragile normalcy stitched from headlines and harvest. The Waterloo Courier ran follow-ups. Donovan patriarch faces justice. Local hero Harlan Donovan fades into sunset. Hero? The word stuck like burrs. Neighbors brought casseroles, tuna noodle, green bean bake, their pity wrapped in Pyrex, whispers trailing like exhaust. Poor Bella, carrying the weight. Jack always had that edge. Harlan, God rest him, kept too many secrets. I threw myself into the work. Dawn to dusk. Solar installers buzzed like bees. Panels rising on the South 40, turning sunlight into salvation. The co-op deals stabilized the books. My felony? Still a ball and chain. But a Des Moines startup, some eco-tech outfit, hired me remote, crunching data on sustainable yields. We believe in second chances, their HR email chirped. Bullshit. But paying bullshit. Nights were harder. The house creaked with ghosts, Mom's laughter in the floorboards. Grandpa's chair empty by the window. Dad's scotch glass gathering dust on the sideboard. I'd pour myself a finger, top shelf now. Irony's gift and ScrollX, formerly Twitter. Because America loves a rebrand, for updates on the trial. Hashtags bloomed like weeds. Donovan downfall. Farm betrayal. Pundits weighed in, local radio hosts calling Dad a product of rural decay, activists hailing me as a whistleblower. Feminist revenge porn, one troll posted, with a Photoshop of me as a gunslinging cowgirl.
Delete.
Block.
Repeat.
The controversy simmered online, spilling into real life. At the diner, where I slung hash browns on weekends, regulars picked sides like it was the Super Bowl. Old-timers, Korean War vets like Grandpa, nodded approval. Jack had it coming. City greed. Younger folks, baristas with tattoos and TikTok dreams, eyed me wary. But didn't you cover for him first? Complicit much. Fair point. I'd agonized over that confession, the pen heavy as lead. Took the rap to save the farm, but also because blood whispered excuses.
Now.
With a twist exposed, doubt gnawed. Was I avenging Grandpa's honor or papering over my own guilt? Dad's flips haunted me most. In jailhouse calls collect. Voice tinny through the line. He'd cycle through personas like bad reception. First week, contrite father. Bells. I messed up. But Harlan. He molded me wrong. Come visit. We can heal. I'd hang up. Stomach churning. Next schemer. You leaked those files? Smart play. But watch your back. Cops got questions about your anonymous tips. Threat veiled as advice. Then, the plea. Testify for me. Say it was all him. Leniency for family. I visited once. Polk County facility smelling of bleach and broken men. He looked smaller behind plexiglass. Salt and pepper stubble framing hollow cheeks. Bella Donovan, he grinned. That old charm flickering. My girl. The Avenger. Fuck you. Jack. No dad anymore. Names have power. He leaned in, breath fogging the divider. You think you're clean? That lockbox? Harlan's idea.
Yeah.
But who found the developer? Who drove the truck with the gas cans?
Me.
And you, signing that fraud plea? You chose the cage. To protect you. The words tasted like ash. Protect? Or control? Like father? Like son, wait.
Daughter.
He laughed.
Bitter.
We're all puppeteers.
Bells.
Harlan pulled my strings. I yanked yours. Now you're dancing alone. The guard cut us off at time. Driving home through Des Moines sprawl, neon signs blurring in sleet, I gripped the wheel till knuckles whitened. Controversial truth. He wasn't wrong. My revenge wasn't pure. It was laced with the same ambition that felled him. Saving the farm? Noble. But the rush of watching him fall. The dark thrill scrolling those X threads, that was ego. American as apple pie and pitchforks. Winter gripped hard. Blizzards burying the panels under drifts. I holed up, plotting contingencies. Dad's trial loomed, January. Cedar Rapids Courthouse, and whispers said he'd flip again, testify against the judge from '98. Cut a deal. Ruin more lives for his own. I couldn't let it slide. Enter phase 2 of the lesson, the deep cut. I networked quiet. Post-raid. A reporter from the Des Moines Register. Lena Vasquez, sharp as a sickle. Latina fire in a sea of white bread, Iowa. Reached out after the leak. You the shadow source? A coffee at a strip mall Starbucks. Her notebook open like a trap. Does it matter? I stirred sugar, avoiding her eyes. She smiled, all teeth. In this game?
Nah.
But Harlan Donovan, that man's a legend wrapped in lies. You gonna let Jack rewrite the obit? We teamed up. Off record. She dug into Dad's payday loans, victim stories. Folks foreclosed on our watch. I fed her the tapes. Anonymized. Her exposé dropped New Year's Eve. Empire of debt. How one family's greed devoured the heartland. Photos of evicted farms. Tearful interviews. Dad's face on page 1. Snarling from a mugshot. The backlash hit like a nor'easter. X exploded. Jack Donovan scam trending nationwide. Blue check activists calling for reform. Red hats decrying fake news witch hunt. Protests at the courthouse. Farmers in Carhartt waving signs. No more Donovan debt. Dad's lawyer bailed. New one pled him out to 15. No deal. Grandpa would have chuckled. Whittling by the stove. Stir the pot.
Girl. Leche em boio.
But he was gone. Buried under the family plot by the creek. Headstone simple, Harlan J. Donovan. 1932 to 2024. Steadfast. I visited weekly. Weeding the grass. Spilling confessions to the wind. Was it worth it? Gramps? Turning him in our blood. Silence. Save the crows cawing judgment. Spring brought thaw and temptation. Dad's sentencing, 10 years. Minimum security upstate. I attended. Last row. Anonymous in the gallery. He stood, shackled. Reading a statement, flipped to victim now. My father. Influences. Regret. No mention of me. Eyes scanned the crowd. Locked on mine. A nod. Almost proud. Learned his lesson, it said. Outside. Rain slicking the steps. Lena cornered me. Off record. You did this. Family business. I lit a smoke, bad habit. post-stress, and exhaled toward the gray sky. She eyed me, appraising. Controversial as hell. Hero or hypocrite? Both. America's export. The drive home was cathartic. Windows down. Wind whipping my hair, like freedom. Farm glowed emerald. Panels humming. But the twist lingered. A splinter under nail. That envelope? Grandpa's note ended with a P.S. If Jack strays too far, bring him home. Harsh love. Bella. Like I did. Harsh love. The arson wasn't just protection, it was initiation.
Grandpa.
Scarred by war. Believed men needed breaking to rebuild strong. Pushed Dad to the match. Then covered the ashes. Cycle of fire. Father to son. Grandfather to granddaughter. My revenge? Just the next ring. Nights now. I dream of the porch. Shotgun heavy. Not at Dad, but Grandpa. Lesson learned. I ask the dark. The corn answers, rustle. Rustle. Never enough. Word count, approximately 1,000.
End of File 2.
File 3. Summer 2024 baked the Midwest into a skillet. Heat waves shimmering off the asphalt like bad decisions. The farm adapted, drip irrigation snaking through rows. Panels powering fans that hummed lullabies to the crops. Revenue ticked up. I even hired help. A kid from town named Tyler, fresh-faced with a welding cert and eyes that lingered too long on my grease-streaked overalls. Heard about your pa, he said one afternoon, handing me a wrench. Badass what you did. Badass or broken? I wiped sweat, forcing a laugh. Small talk. Deflection. Tools of the trade now. He shrugged. Boyish grin. Both. Makes you real.
Real.
The word echoed as I drove into Waterloo for supplies. Radio crackling with talk shows dissecting the Donovan saga. Redemption arc or revenge porn? The host pontificated. Callers piling on. 1. A gravelly voice from Ames. Girl's a saint. Took the fall. Gave it back tenfold. Another. Shrill from Dubuque. Vigilante justice? That's mob rule.
Folks.
Due process be damned. I switched to country. Luke Combs crooning about dirt roads and daddy issues, and gripped the will tighter. The controversy wasn't fading. It festered. A national pastime. Podcast dissected us. Farmhouse Fury, hosted by some true crime bro from Chicago. Racking episodes on the betrayal that broke the breadbasket. They got it half right. The fraud. The arson. My heroic stand. But the nuance? Grandpa's hand in the fire. Dad's flips as survival instinct. Buried in footnotes. Too gray for soundbites. Back home. Tyler and I shared a beer on the porch. His idea?
Tentative.
Like testing thin ice. You ever think about leaving? He asked. Feet up on the rail. Stars pricking the velvet sky. Every day.
Truth.
Half-spoken. The farm was mine now, deeded over in Grandpa's will. To Bella. The steady 1 inch, but chains of soil and memory held fast. You.
Nah.
This is home. He clinked bottles, eyes earnest. And, you know, company's nice. The kiss happened natural. Salt lip and hesitant, his hands tentative on my waist. First since prison. First real anything. Woke something dormant, hope, maybe, or just human hunger. We tumbled inside. Ghosts be damned. Sheets tangling like old resentments. Morning light found us awkward. Coffee brewing to fill the quiet. No pressure, he murmured, lacing fingers. Just real. Real scared me more than revenge. Dad's letters kept coming, weekly now. Jail's stationery scrawled with please and barbs. Saw you on the news. Avenger girl. Proud.
Sorta.
But Tyler? That welder kid? He's using you. Word in the yard. His family's tied to the developers I scared off. Karma's loop. Paranoia or prophecy. I checked. Tyler's last name. Kowalski, Polish stock. But his uncle? The very developer Dad torched for. Coincidence? In Iowa, where grudges span generations like droughts. Nothing was. I confronted him that evening.
Who in Hunt?
Dirt under nails. Your family, the land deal 98? He blinked. Rake pausing mid-sweep. Uncle Ray?
Yeah.
Old beef. But that's ancient.
Bella.
Water under the bridge. Bridge built on ashes? Voice sharp. Betraying the churn. Hurt flashed.
Raw.
You think I'm here for payback?
Jesus.
After everything. Everything's the problem. I dropped the hoe. Storming to the barn. Alone with the cows lowing and my racing pulse. Doubt flooded. Was this Dad's final flip? Poisoning from afar? Or my own strings? Grandpa's legacy of suspicion yanking tight? The decision was a knife edge. Trust or torch. I chose probe. Late night googles. X searches Tyler's clean. Uncle bankrupt since the fire.
No vendettas loathed.
But the seed planted. Watered by isolation. We cooled. Dates to Judy's. His touches tentative now. Talk to me, he'd beg. But words stuck like burrs. Meanwhile, the antagonist evolved.
Dad.
Sensing weakness. Escalated. A collect call. Voice sly. He's playing you?
Bells.
Like I played Harlan. Blood or not. We're all schemers. Drop him. Or I'll spill from the stand your role in the tips. The tapes. Perjury's a bitch. Threat hung. Galvanizing. I lawyered up proper. Lena's referral. A no-nonsense attorney named Ruth from Iowa City. Please iron, she assured over Zoom. Cat-eye glasses perched. But Jack? He's angling for compassionate release. Family trauma. Mention you. Over my dead body. Ruth chuckled.
Dry.
That's the spirit. But play smart. Expose the manipulation, letters as harassment. I did. Filing motions. Court date set. August swelter. Cedar Rapids again. Gallery fuller this time, activists, victims from the loans. Even Tyler. Squeezing my hand pre-hearing. I'm in, he whispered. Whatever. Inside. Dad at the defense table. Suit ill-fitting. Eyes scanning like a hawk. Judge, a stern woman with silver bun. Read the addendums. Harassment charges tacked on. His lawyer objected. Flailing, mister. Donovan seeks redemption.
Redemption via extortion.
Ruth countered. Letters projected blurry scans. His handwriting damning. Dad's flip was poetry. Head bowed. Tears theatrical. Your Honor. My daughter's pain. It's my doing. I withdraw the motions.
Just. Peace.
Gasps rippled. Victims muttered. Tyler squeezed harder. Judge nodded.
Stern.
Sentencing stands. No early release. Outside. Press mobbed. Lena front row. Recorder thrust.
Bella.
Thoughts on your father's apology? Actions over words. Flashbulbs popped. Migraine blooming. That night. Bonfire in the back 40. tires from the old Ford, flames roaring 20 feet. Tyler and I burned the letters, one by one, his arm around me solid. "He's done," he said, sparks ascending like absolution. But sleep evaded, fire's glow fading to embers. Grandpa's voice in the crackle, harsh love. Girl. Was Dad's threat love? Twisted? Tyler's uncle. Did the loop close there? Revenge begetting revenge? Dawn broke humid. Decisions pressing. Controversial core. Forgive the flipper. Or flip the script forever. Fall foliage turned the hills to fire, red maples bleeding into gold. A mockery of the blazes we'd buried. Harvest was bumper. Combines purring through stalks heavy with yield. Tyler at the wheel of the John Deere. Shirt sleeves rolled. Sweat tracing the lines of his forearms. We'd thawed. Tentative romance blooming like late corn. Picnics by the creek. His hand steady in mine during VFW potlucks. Future's green, he'd say, nodding at the panels. Like us. I wanted to believe it.
God. I did.
But Dad's shadow lingered. A stain on the horizon. Post-hearing. Letters stopped, silence louder than screams. Prison scuttlebutt via Ruth. He joined AA. Bible study. Turning leaf. Flipped to penitent. Proselytizing to inmates about family's poison. X lit up with leaks. Donovan finds God behind bars. Memes followed Dad in orange. Halo photoshopped. Caption. From fraud to forgiven? Skeptics howled. Believers prayed. I scrolled numb. Blocking the noise. Focus, the farm. Expansion plans, organic cert. Farmer's market booth in Cedar Falls. Tyler pitched in, welding trellises for a greenhouse. His laugh echoing off the barn like bomb. One night. Tangled in sheets. Post-love haze. He traced my felony scar, a faded tattoo of barbed wire-eyed inked in lockup. Tell me about it. The inside. Words spilled. The clang of gates. The women's circle where we swap stories of bad men and worse choices. Learn to spot snakes, I said, voice low. Like Dad. He kissed the ink. You're no victim.
Bella.
You're the storm.
Storm.
Fitting. But storms brew from somewhere. And mine gathered over Thanksgiving. Grandpa's birthday would have been 92.
Io sted solo.
Table set for ghosts. Turkey from the co-op. Pie from the diner's recipe. Tyler came. Carving knife steady. But midway, his phone buzzed, a text. Face paling. Uncle Ray, he muttered, silencing it. Old shit. Show me. Demand. Not request. Reluctant. He handed over. Nephew, tell that Donovan bitch the bills due. 98 interest compounds. Ray. Rage ignited. White hot. You knew. Swear.
No.
He cut me off years ago, after the bankruptcy. Eyes pleading, but the seed sprouted thorns.
Bella.
Please. I bolted. Truck keys jangling. Gravel spitting as I peeled out. Destination. The old Kowalski place. 10 miles east, sagging double wide. Truck on blocks. Ray Kowalski nursing a grudge, since the century turned. He answered the door in wife-beater and fury. Beer gut spilling. Face roadmap of regrets. Donovan spawn. Come to gloat.
No.
To end it. Voice steel. Heart hammer. The fire, my family started it.
Wrong.
Here's restitution. Check from a farm account, $20K. Paying money from Dad's freeze. He snatched it. Squint-eyed. Interest, paid in full, turned on heel, leaving him sputtering. Back home, Tyler waited on the porch, duffel packed. If you doubt, I don't.
Lie.
Half true. But loops break with truth, not threats. We rebuilt, fragile as frost. December brought snow, blanketing sins. Christmas, string lights on the porch. Tyler's gift, a locket with Mom's photo, scavenged from attic. Mine, a promise ring, simple silver. No flips, he vowed. But fate, that cruel director,
Scripted the next act.
New Year's Eve. Call from Ruth. Jack's sick. Cancer, lungs. Stage 3. Wants you. Refusal, burned throat. Let him rot, he says. Secrets. About Harlan. The real lesson.
Curiosity.
That Midwestern vice.
1.
Visitation room. Sterile as a morgue. Dad frail in scrubs. Oxygen tube snaking. Bells. Voice wheeze. But eyes sharp, final flip brewing. Make it quick. He leaned. Conspiratorial. The arson? Harlan didn't just push. He planned payback on me too. After I confessed, scared shitless, he said, "Good. Now you know fire's bite. Buried it to control me forever. Your revenge? You freed us both. Lies? Truth? Medical file confirmed. Diagnosis real. Prognosis months. Why tell now? Lesson complete. Smirk.
Ghostly.
Teach your boy, Ty, before he flips." Kowalski's hold grudges, like holy writ, dismissed him with a nod. Heart leaden. Outside. Snow swirled. Blurring lines. Controversial epiphany. Antagonists aren't born. They're forged in family forges. Hammers of love. Back to the farm. Tyler's arms waiting. What did he say? Ghosts.
Kiss to silence.
But doubt whispered. Wind through cracks. January trial for the harassment, slap on wrist. Community service. Dad skipped. Health waiver. Ex mourned the fallen titan, debated mercy. I tuned out. Plowing fields. Tyler at side. Twist teased. Raise check cashed. But a week later, surveyor showed Kowalski staking claim on border acres. Old easement from 98 deed. Tyler swore ignorance, but his flinch betrayed. Storm broke. Confrontation in the kitchen. Maps splayed. You knew. Ray's bluff. Bluff like Dad's flips. Tears hot. Betrayal fresh. He packed.
Quiet.
Love you.
Bella. But this.
Poison. Gone by dawn. Taillights fading into flurry. Alone again. Shotgun from the rack, loaded this time. For varmint or varlet. Lesson? In America's heartland, revenge circles like hawks, devouring the avenger last. Winter 2025 clawed deep, blizzards howling like the furies Dad unleashed. The farm stood sentinel, panels frosted, greenhouse steaming with greens for market, but inside, emptiness echoed. Tyler's absence carved hollows, his boots by the door. Gone, coffee mug. Chipped. Solitary. I'd scroll his ex in weak moments, posts from Ames. Welding gigs. Cryptic, some fire scar forever. No blocks. Masochism's gift. Ray's claim festered. Court dates looming like thunderheads. Ruth fought it. Easement bogus. Statute lapsed, but the stress gnawed. Sleep fractured by dreams of flames licking ledgers. Grandpa's laugh morphing to Dad's wheeze. Harsh love, they'd chorus. Shadows dancing. February brought fever, flu, or fate. Bedridden. Hallucinations vivid, Mom in the doorway. Disapproving, Tyler's hand. Withdrawing. Ruth visited. Soup in hand.
Rest.
The case holds. Woke to news alert. Dad dead.
Prison obituary.
Terse. John Jack Donovan. 52. Complications from illness. Ex ignited. Condolences from Cons, R.I.P. brother. Outrage from victims, rot in hell. I stared at the screen.
Numb.
No tears, just a void. Wind whistling through. Funeral?
No.
But the will, probated quick, named me sole heir. Residual assets. A shoebox of letters. One for me. Bells, if you're reading. I lost the flip. Harlan won, his lesson stuck. Forgive?
Nah.
But understand. I burn to keep us warm. Your turn to stoke or smother. Dad. Understand. Controversial absolution. Half granted. I smothered. Shredding the rest. Spring equinox. Thaw revealed bones. A rusted gas can under the barn. Relic from 98. Buried it deeper. With the shotgun. Tyler called once, voicemail. Hesitant. Miss you. Ray's dropped the claim. Your check shamed him.
Door open.
Deleted. Loops break alone. Harvest gold again.
Solo now.
Market booth bustled. Folks buying kale. Asking after the story. Old news, I'd smile. Pocketing bills. Lena profiled me. From ashes to abundance. Bella Donovan's rebirth. Hero arc. Sanitized. But nights on the porch. Grandpa's chair mine now. Bud in hand. Horizon mocks. The climax? Not the raid. The reveal. But this quiet. Revenge's dividend. Isolation. Divided readers. Was Dad's death justice or tragedy? Grandpa's machinations malice or method? My solitude strength or surrender? Twists debate. In the final letter. Dad confessed a lie. The arson PS? Forged by him.
Post lockbox.
To twist the knife. Make you question. Like he did me. Final flip. From grave. Who wins in such wars? No one. America thrives on the gray, ambition's edge. Betrayal's blade, leaving avengers to tell the scars. Yet here I sit. Farm, thriving. Heart scarred but beating. Lesson learned? Shock eternal. And in that, perhaps, the only happy end, survival. Unbowed.